Hello, this is the lovely 14th century church of All Saints in Holbeach, Lincolnshire. The spire soars to over 180 feet with 4 tiers of Louvre lights. The tower has huge stepped buttresses. Most people enter by this north porch, most probably an addition in the 16th century, and it's got these 2 unusual drum towers that may have been remnants from Moulton Castle, now completely disappeared. Until 1811, there was a parvise, an upper room, which housed the Farmer Free School. Many of the windows you can see here have the typical flamboyant tracery of the early 15th century period. I could just about get inside this west porch where you can see the traceried roof and a gable cross. As you can see when I visited it, the front west aspect of the tower was being refurbished and hidden beneath some scaffolding. Here you can see a Sanctus bellcot. Now, the south porch has a remarkably tall and narrow entrance by comparison to the north. What's quite unusual is there are 2 side doors inside the porch leading up to a further 2 doors above, but these are only about 15 feet apart, and it seems quite unnecessary to have 2 circular staircases. A famous local antiquarian, Mr. William Stukeley, was educated here, and he left his mark by carving it into the wall. If you walk along the north aisle to the Lady Chapel, it was consecrated in 1912, and is used today for private prayer, meditation, and midweek worship. The pulpit was erected by Canon Arthur Brooke, who was vicar here between 1865 to 72, as a memorial for his father. That door high in the wall originally led to a rude loft where musicians would have played their instruments for services until the early part of the 19th century. As you approach the chancel area and look up, you can see the rude beam put up as a memorial to those local people who died in the First World War, together with those who died in World War II. High up you can see the wooden angels that were paid for by Arthur Brooke's brother. This wooden roof was completely replaced in Victorian times. Behind the altar is the only stained glass window in the chancel. The decorated screen behind the altar, called the reredos, is a memorial to Canon Hemmons. This reredos is made from coloured oak with scenes of the Nativity and the Crucifixion and the Ascension on it, with dainty little statues of saints and bishops and angels. Try not to be fooled by the age. The choir stalls, communion rail are 19th century additions, as are the ornate piscina and sedilia, but they were cunningly constructed in a medieval style. As with all the churches on this crawl, you will see that the pillars seem to lean outwards, but they are safe, but also reminders of the weight that constantly bears down upon them from above. In fact, by the time the tower was built, its weight had depressed the base of these western responds by 10 inches, and a further drop was caused when the spire was built. Looking up at the ceiling of the tower, you can see the unusual star vault, ribs or supports that do not complete a continuous line across the vaulted ceiling. And there's a central oculus. Unfortunately, due to the ongoing maintenance and repairs, you can't see the magnificent 5-light west ascension window. Tucked away is this tomb of Sir Humphrey Littlebury, who was a benefactor of the building of the church. Look at his head resting on the life-sized head of a man in a netted hood. It is said that Sir Humphrey was slain in the Wars of the Roses in the year 1400. Unfortunately, this brass appears to have lost its head. And this tomb chest is dedicated to Joan Welby. Joan is wearing a draped headdress and a long flowing mantle and heavy girdle. This octagonal font is one of the oldest fittings in the church and is still used regularly for baptisms today. Thank you for watching this film of Holbeach Church in Lincolnshire.